everybody, and welcome back to the Denise Network. Denise Tupper here, and welcome to my new series called Faith and Feelings. So why faith and feelings? I gave a little bit of a brief introduction as to why I'm doing this, but today we're going to get a little bit more in depth and just kind of explain to you why I am such a huge advocate for this. All right, so let's get into it. I'm trying to like I didn't cram anything, but I'm trying to get all my points in order in my head. But anyway, let's get into it. So why am I advocating for mental health in church? Because we've tend to neglect that part of our lives. We focus so much on, yes, I know a lot of the things that we are as humans come from the spirit, but we should also find a way of bridging the gap between mind, body, and soul, right? Those three. We are a trinity, right? We are also a trinity as much as God is also a trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We're also a trinity. We also need to work with that trinity. But a lot of the times I've seen that in churches, mental health is neglected a lot and it's shunned upon. And it's sort of, if somebody comes up and says, I'm struggling with depression, immediately that person is classified as not having enough faith, which to me, I believe is incorrect to say, because the fact that they stood up and they've spoken about a struggle that they're having, it means that they have faith that in me saying it out, something is going to happen. God is going to start working in me somehow. But it's also a cry for help as to, I need help with this and I'm struggling with this and I don't know what to do. They need somebody to talk to that's obviously a professional. They need somebody that's going to, that's said professional, to pray with them and go through the word with them and be with them every step of the way until, that healing journey comes to an end. Some people have temporary seasonal depression. Some people have a chemical imbalance in their brain where they constantly struggle with this cloud of darkness that doesn't go away. And sometimes it needs medication. Sometimes it also needs medication and prayer and the word as well. So a lot of people go through their battles quietly in church because they believe that if I speak out and I stand up and I say I'm struggling with this and this and this, I've been going through this and I don't know what to do, they feel like they'll be judged for not having enough faith, which to me, like I said, it's wrong. I've had my fair share of mental struggles. I still do. I'm not coming to you as somebody who's perfect or who has fully dealt with this thing to the core. I'm still working through it. But I've also spoken to a lot of people that have been struggling as much as I have, and maybe even worse. And they always say, I feel like I have nobody to talk to in church. And, if only the church would do this, if only the church could, if only the church could. And it's always the coulds. And you hear people saying that, I spoke to so-and-so and so, but it didn't feel like, it really sat down and really heard what I needed to say. It was almost as if they were just being sort of dismissive. It felt like they were wasting my time. I was wasting their time, sorry. And I didn't feel truly that my issue was heard and it's going to be resolved. So the reason why I'm advocating for this in the Christian space as a whole is that we need people planted within churches or raised up within churches that will take the time with people that are struggling, sit down with them, make time for them, hear them out, have a conversation with them, and help them through whatever it is that they're going through step by step, using prayer, using scripture, using the word. And not just that, if they need to be referred elsewhere to a proper medical practitioner, or they need to be referred to medication, or they need to be referred to so-and-so, then that should be done without the outside world saying, they don't have faith, so this is wrong, and they're letting the devil win, or whatever. And also, it should not just stop at sitting down and talking to them. I know a lot of people go through things alone. Sometimes they just need a change of scenery. They just need to go outside, do something. They need somebody to talk to. They need somebody that will motivate them to go out there and do different things. You can allocate them a buddy, have a buddy system where you allocate them a friend who they talk to on a regular basis, who they go out with on a regular basis, show them a different type of life and environment. A lot of people are cooped up. I think ever since COVID, a lot of us have, myself included, we've adopted this culture of being cooped up at home. Going outside is a struggle. If not, let me not say it's a struggle, but you're kind of like, what am I going to do outside? Like, what's the point of going outside anyway? But it's important to go outside and get some sunshine. It's important to go outside and do something outside of your normal, outside of your normal routine. So in me advocating for this, it's also me advocating for myself. Saying, God, I'm putting my best foot forward, and I'm saying, if it's me that needs to be raised in order for me to be this person to other people, so be it. But if there are people in there that are also advocating for the same thing that I'm advocating for, dear God, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's all I'm asking for. We can have all these different departments, choir, we can have all these departments, but if there's no department for therapy and counselling, I'm telling you, we are doing an injustice, and we cannot leave everything in the hands of our pastor. Guys, they also have other things that they need to be doing. They're humans as well. They have families, they have kids, they have this and that. There has to be a department that deals with that and that alone. If it's a whole group where they're doing therapy and counseling, it includes mental, it includes marriage, it includes, financial therapy, where people go there and they learn how to be financially responsible. If it's whatever, therapy and counseling in every facet, behavioral therapy in the Christian set, whatever, there just has to be a department just specifically made for that, so that people can come. I'm like, I'm struggling with this and this and this, I need help. People that will get help with, alcohol and drugs, pornography, people that, there's a lot that could be done within this department. And okay, maybe I'm just too passionate about it, but anyway, but that's all I'm saying. Let's have a space where people can come to and feel free to unburden themselves without the fear of the person I'm talking to is going to go spread it like a rumor, like butter on bread. Because the thing is, I think also it's the counsel that we've found, it's also another fear that people have when they talk about their problems, is that if I talk to this person about what I'm going through, the likelihood of them running with it and a trend is very high, right? And because in church, there's a reputation. Tell people your problems, now the whole world knows that you've got a problem. And that's not what people want. That's not what I want. If I come to you with a problem, I want you to keep it to yourself and keep it between the two of us. Let's have this conversation, just the two of us. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. If you have those story where you've told someone something, personal and to yourself, and then they go and they spread that as a rumor, trust me, with you. And if you also feel that the church could do better in terms of handling people that are struggling mentally, I'm also here. I'm not in any way, never trying to make the church look bad. Never in a million years. I am part of the church. I am the church. Everybody is the church. It's just me trying to say we could do better in certain areas. It's not always about this, it's not always about that. But there's certain areas within the church that we could do so much better in, and that are also interlinked with other things. If the mind is doing well, so is the body, so is the spirit. If the spirit is doing well, so is the mind, so is the body. All of these things are interlinked, and we need to find a way to bring those things together and make sure everything is working as per the function. That's why we feed our spirit the word and prayer, right? So that it's fully functional. With the mind, that's why we exercise the mind. That's why we read. That's why we talk to people. With the body, that's why we exercise the body. So that it's healthy, so that it's doing good, so that it's well. So it's just a whole trifecta. It's just a whole thing that if all three parts are working together collectively, they could do so much better. And there are a lot of people that are showing face out there in the world. They come to church, they're smiling. But when they get home, it's just tears all around because they haven't found a safe space within the house of the Lord to do those things. Yes, they say that you can crying all you want in prayer, but sometimes prayer is not enough. You need people. Jesus was always surrounded by people. He had his disciples. He had people to talk to. We're not an island. Nobody's an island. You are not an island. There are people around you that you have to find that you can speak to. Do not isolate yourself because you feel like you'll be judged for what you're feeling. Don't ever think like that. There are people that are feeling the way that you're feeling, and there are people that care about the way that you're feeling. So please, you are not alone. If you can find somebody to speak to, find somebody to speak to. You are not alone. You're not an island. You're not going to be judged. And somebody somewhere out there is willing to hear what you have to say and is willing to help you through what you need help through. So, with that being said, I love every single one of you. I wish you nothing but peace. I wish you nothing but joy. I wish you nothing but love, light, and happiness. That is it for me. I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.